Polymer Clay friends. My name is Anita Long. My business is Nee Nee Ree, and I have a video for you today. I'm calling it Controlled Mokume Gane. This technique is widely used by polymer clay artists, and so this is nothing new. I just wanted to show my favorite way to do Mokume Gane. The pair of earrings and the necklace pictured are three of the pieces that I made from this technique in this video. And then at the end, I'll show you some other pieces that I also got from this same sheet of polymer clay. The items that you will need to make the clay veneer include a work surface, either glass or a ceramic tile would be nice. Something that the clay will stick to, an acrylic roller, a blade, a texture sheet to impress the clay with, a rough texture sheet to make the backs, and 4 colors of clay. I used Wasabi, Alizarine Crimson, Pearl, and Turnip. You can use whatever you like. Obviously, you'll just get a different look depending on what colors of clay that you use. In order to make the pieces of jewelry, I made earrings and a necklace. I used the drill to drill holes in my pieces. I used a craft knife or an Xacto knife. I used a cutter, a metal cutter. I used a template for cutting out the necklace. I used a metal dome to bake my pieces on. It gives them just a little bit of a rounded look, a little bit more professional look. I used 2 pair of pliers to put my jump rings together. I used 5 jump rings, 2 ear wires, and a sterling silver ball chain necklace. For this project, I am using these 3 colors, plus I'm using another one later for material for the back of my jewelry pieces. Right now, I'm using Premo Wasabi. I just have a little square, a thickest setting cut out. Alizarine Crimson, it's also Premo. And then Premo Pearl, 2 pieces, same size as these 2 pieces. Doesn't really matter the size. You can make them however big you want your sheet to be. Okay, so what I want to do with these is make a Skinner blend with each set. I'm going to have a Skinner blend that is made with the Alizarine Crimson and Pearl, and one made with the Wasabi and Pearl. So I'm just going to set the Alizarine Crimson aside and work on the Wasabi, and what I do with this, you will also do with this. Okay, so in order to make my Skinner blend, I just want to do this real quickly because you probably already know how to do that. I'm going to cut my green clay in half, making 2 triangles. Going to cut my pearl clay in half, making 2 triangles. And then I'm going to put the 2 halves together, stacking them so that they, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with my Wasabi. And then I am going to put the 2 pieces together, and I'm going to offset them a little bit. And this is so that I'll end up with some clay. This is going to make a blend in the middle, but on this end, some clay will still be pearl, and on this end, some clay will still be wasabi. So I just put them together like that. I cut off these extra little tips here. So I end up with a configuration like this. And the way I make this into a blend, I'm going to take my roller and roll that together to get it stuck. I'm gonna lift that up from my glass, roll the other side because I don't want them coming apart in the pasta machine. And then I'm gonna run this through the pasta machine on the thickest setting. And when I do that, I'm going to put this long side in first. Okay, I've run that through once. I'm point out, I use a magnet on my pasta machine, and you just stick this to the pasta machine next to or above the rollers, or on the rollers even if you can, and it goes beside your clay, and it keeps your clay from expanding as you put it through the pasta machine several times. So some people just use a pack of clay and set it on there to do the same thing. Okay, so to make the Skinner blend, I'm just going to fold my clay in half. I'm keeping my green ends together and my pearl ends together. So this end is always going to be just pearl. This end is always going to be just green. Run it through the pasta machine, fold first. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing again. Fold it, pearl ends together, green ends together. And I keep doing that however many times it takes to make a nice smooth blend. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the blends that I just made. I've got this blend that is Wasabi to Pearl, and I have this blend that is Alizarine Crimson to Pearl, and I'm going to use this Lisa Pavelka texture sheet. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to cut each of these in half, and I'm just eyeballing them. I could measure and make sure that I get them right. Then I'm going to stack them, and I'm going to stack them. I'm going to take the dark end of this one and the dark end of this one and put them at opposite ends. Okay, opposite color, opposite ends. And then I'm going to do the same thing again with this one so that the light color is on this end, whereas the light color of the first one was down here. And I'm going to stack that, and then I'm going to stack this one the opposite way also. So I end up with a look like this. Okay, and then I'm going to run these through the pasta machine once on the thickest setting. And I'm going to straighten my ends a little bit. I'm not sure how it got so off, but I've got some waste there. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm going to stack it again. And I'm going to run it through the pasta machine on the thickest setting one more time. Okay, and then I'm going to take my stamp that I want to impress on this, and I'm going to spray my stamp with water, and I do this away from my work surface because I don't want my work surface all soaking wet. I always kind of just turn around in my chair and do it over the carpet. I figure it'll dry. Okay, and then I am going to take the side of the clay that I want to impress. I'm going to lay it on my sheet, and I am going to just start pressing, and my fingers are sticking to the clay, so I want to get my fingers wet. Okay, and then they won't. So that makes a big difference. This is going to give me a much more controlled Mokume Gane than if I just impressed it with different shapes. Okay, I feel like it's stuck. Sometimes I might take my roller and just give it a little roll just to smooth it out a bit and make sure that it's all in there. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn it over and peel off my texture sheet, and you can see that I have a nice texture on the whole thing. This particular texture sheet actually has 4 different designs, so I got a little bit of each of those, which would be nice if I'm going to use this to make pendants or something. Okay, then it's very important that I dry off my work surface and get all that water that came off of my texture sheet off of it. And I'm also going to dry off my clay, especially the bottom of it, because I want my clay to stick, still a little wet. I want my clay to stick to my glass surface. So then my next step is to take a very thin, sharp blade, and I'm going to make sure that it is clean. Do that very carefully. Make sure that you're pulling away from the blade and not towards it. And I'm just going to start shaving off the top of this. And when I do that, I have to shave very, very thin. Sorry if you can hear my dog growling in the background. She's rolling around on the carpet. The dogs don't like to come to the studio, down to the basement studio with me. They don't like the sound of the motor mostly, I think, on my pasta machine. So they usually hang out upstairs, but one of them is here with me now. Now, how deep you can go on this without hurting it or getting too deep depends upon the depth of your texture sheet that you used. This one is kind of a medium one. This can be rather tedious, and I love tedious. Okay, I would like to point out that I'm just making a big pile of these scraps, but you could lay out a piece of clay. Let me take a scrap over here, and a bigger piece than that, and actually flip your cut pieces off and put them on that, and you'll end up with another pretty piece. I haven't been doing that. I'm just making a pile of them. And once you've piled them up, there's no going back. You can't pick them apart. I like tedious, but not that tedious. Okay, so there you have kind of 4 different patterns. I think because that texture sheet was in 4 patterns, I am going to just cut that into 4 pieces. And then I think I'll take it a little step further and make each of these into a quick little pendant. Okay, in order to do that, I'm going to take a color. This looks like a color that kind of matches up with these real nicely. So I'm going to use this. I am going to run this through the pasta machine. Okay, I have a couple of texture sheets that are just very rough, and I think this is a tread like you would stick to steps so that you don't slip on the steps. And I use this often to make backs for my pieces, for my jewelry pieces. So I have conditioned this clay a little bit, and I have run it through on a number 2. And my next step is going to be to get this wet, and I'm going to do that again with my little handy dandy turn around in my chair and do it over the floor trick. Okay, I want it really drippy wet, and then I am going to put this on this, and I'm going to run it through the pasta machine on a number 0. I'm going to run this through together. Make sure it's plenty wet when you do this, or you're going to be picking clay out of your little texture sheet. Okay. Okay, so I ran this through my pasta machine. Always, you want it to be about 1 click thicker when you run it through with the back on it than your clay originally was. Okay, and then I'm just going to peel my clay off, and you see I have a nice rough surface. And then I'm going to, I need to dry off my wet spot here on my work surface again. Okay, and I'm going to pick my favorite 2 of these pieces that I just made, and I'm going to, hopefully they'll fit, I'm going to put them on the other side of this, the not rough side. I need to cut this so I can see which part of it's roughed up. Okay. All right, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't go all the way to the edge, because I'm going to use this to make some jewelry pieces, and they won't go all the way to the edge. So I'm going to put both of these on here. The way I burnish this is I take a piece of patty wax paper, lay it on top, and I have lost my bone folder, so I'm just going to use my roller. And instead of rolling, I'm going to rub it on top. I could also use my fingers. My glass is a little wet still, so my clay is sliding around. Okay, and that is going to give me a nice smooth surface. Okay, and then I am going to use a cutter. These are some of my favorite cutters. I'm going to use this to do a couple of earrings from this. Okay, so first I'm going to just kind of see what I want earrings that are not exactly the same, but similar. I like that earrings don't have to be real matchy-matchy anymore. Oops. But I do like them to at least look like they should go together. Okay, there's a couple of pretty earrings. And then I believe I'm going to use this shape cutter in order to get a good size pendant. I really like this shape. And I'm gonna try to get a part of this that will coordinate with those earrings. I think right there looks good. Okay, and to cut with this, I just use my craft knife. Having a little trouble here. And I just go all the way around the inside of this. Now, I have more pieces here that I could use for something else that already have backs on them. But for right now, I am going to put these pieces on a dome, and I'm going to bake them so that they're a little bit rounded. And I'll be back. These are the pieces after I baked them. I then drilled holes in the top of each of the pieces. I did this just with little hand drills that I use. This clay is not very thick, so it doesn't take much to make the holes. I added jump rings and then sterling silver ear wires and a sterling silver ball chain. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a pretty simple technique. This is what I like to do when I can't think of what I want to do and maybe have a little bit of a block on what to make next. I just stack up some clay and impress it with something, and almost always love the results. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like and a comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on social media. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.